Hey, so I wanted to go ahead and give you some tips and tricks on how to solve some of the problems on this assessment. So feel free to follow along. You can print this off as well, or you can show your work in a notebook. So first of all, when I have a numerator and a denominator that share a common factor other than 1, that means I can divide the numerator and denominator by the same number to simplify the fraction. So I know that 2 and 14 are both even numbers, so I'm going to divide the top and the bottom both by 2. 2 happens to be the greatest common factor these two numbers share. Okay, another strategy that you could use to find a fraction in simplest form is to use the same fraction. I'm going to write a math fact for 2, which is 2 times 1. And I'm going to write a math fact for 14 using one of these numbers. Remember, if we divide by 1, it doesn't get us very far. So we just want to go ahead and try and use another factor other than the number 1. So I have 2 times 7. When I see what they have in common, I could actually cross that off, and I'm left with 1/7, which is 2/14 simplified. Okay, so there's a couple of strategies for you there for simplifying fractions. When you are writing a mixed number as an improper fraction, you always start with the denominator and multiply it by the whole number, and then you add your numerator. So I'm going to write this out as 5 times 1 plus 4, just to show my thinking. 5 times 1 plus 4, and my denominator is always the same from the mixed number to the improper fraction. So I have 5 times 1 is 5 plus 4 is 9/5. So that is my improper fraction for 1 4/5. Okay, so again, I'm going to write this fraction over here on the side so I have a little bit more room to work. 2 1/3. Start with the denominator, multiply the whole number, add the numerator. Okay. When you're writing the reciprocal of a fraction, you want to flip the numerator and denominator. So when I flip 3 and 2, I get 3/2. Okay. The reason why those are reciprocals of each other, I'm going to show my work on the side, is because when I take 2/3 and I multiply it by 3/2, I get 2 times 3, which is 6, and 3 times 2, which is 6, and 6/6 equals 1. Okay? Whenever you're writing a whole number as a fraction, you want to use that whole number with the denominator as 1, because if I do 5 divided by 1, I'm left with 5. So that's the fraction first, but then I need to actually flip it around and switch the numerator and denominator. So when you have a whole number, it's a 2-step process. Okay, so let's take a look at some multiplication problems. Again, when we're multiplying fractions, we always want to write our whole numbers with a denominator of 1. So I have 3 is equal to 3/1, 3 times 8, and 1 times 9. Now, just a reminder, you can cross cancel or cross simplify at this point, which I highly encourage. So if I look at 1 and 8, they don't share any other common factors other than 1. If I look at 3 and 9, they do share a common factor, which is 3. So I could take 3 divided by 3 to get 1, and 9 divided by 3 to get 3. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 3 is 3. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and skip down to multiplying mixed numbers right here. The first step that we need to do is change these into improper fractions. 5 times 1 plus 4, which is 9/5. You'll notice that many of the mixed numbers are written as improper fractions up in the other part of the assessment. This was the example that I did just a few minutes ago. And I'm going to multiply that by 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7, and keep my denominator. So I can cross simplify or cross cancel. 5 and 7 don't share any common factor, so I can't divide by anything other than 1. But 9 and 3 share other common factors, and I could divide 9 by 3, which is 3, and 3 by 3, which is 1. So 3 times 7 is 21, and 5 times 1 is 5. And I can go ahead and I can leave my answer as an improper fraction at this point because 21 and 5 don't share a common factor other than 1. Let's talk a little bit about dividing. So dividing is a two-step process, a couple-step process. We add one more step than multiplying. So I am going to write this division problem out by putting a denominator of 1, and I'm only going to do one step at a time. I wrote out my division problem so that I had improper fractions or proper fractions. And now I'm going to copy the first fraction, multiply, which is a dot, and then flip the second. And at this point, I can do my simplifying. 4 and 2 are both divisible by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And then I can multiply across the top. 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. My final answer could be 6 over 1 or 6. Okay? The reason why I did not cross cancel over here is because 1 and 3 are both prime numbers. The only number that they can be divided by is 1. Alrighty. So as we scroll down here a little bit, I'm going to do one more example with a mixed number. So again, there's a couple steps here. You want to change them into improper fractions first. 2 times 1 plus 1 is 3. Keep the denominator. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 1 is 33. Keep the denominator. I'm doing one step at a time, so I've turned them into improper fractions, and now I'm going to copy, dot, flip, and then I can cross cancel, cross simplify. 3 and 33, right away I can recognize that they're both divisible by 3. And you might need to use your multiplication chart to reference that math fact that 3 times 11 is 33. And 8 and 2 are both even numbers, divisible by 2. Now I have 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 times 11 is 11. So I hope that helps. Feel free to try out some practice, try your assessment again, or reach out to your teacher if you have any questions. Thanks.